All right, you know what it is. It's your boys, Kamal Hart on the chart, and we're going bar by bar. It's a little bit late on a Friday, so I can't lie. I am trying to get out of here ASAP, but a lot of stuff went down today. In fact, really excited to give a few examples, actually, of at least one example of how um, psychology plays into your profitability. I really cut my profits short today because I wasn't in the right mind frame. So today's a really good example of that. I'll get to that when I get to that. Let me preface by saying I I genuinely got to the charts a little bit late today because I was up late last night and I was just really tired. So when I woke up, I was up probably about 6. Um, I I didn't want to take trades, to be honest. I didn't even want to deal with trading today. But I figured, hey, let me just take one trade. Hopefully, I can get like a quick scalp, and I'll just be done for the day. Take one and done, sort of thing. I say that to say that you can see that we have kind of this sideways motion and this downtrend that's really holding prices pretty nicely. Um, as this sets up, there's nothing that we can really sell. Maybe you would have sold this, but when that bar closed above, I probably would have scratched. So that one would have been much. But here you get that little break lower, fails. Then you get a second entry short right there. Here's like, you know, it's a bad signal bar, so I don't think you can really go short there. But it is interesting that there's that setup. I think it's one of those things that these setups, even though it's technically there, whenever you have a bad signal bar, that automatically makes it like a C setup where it might work, but it's just, there's probably a higher probability trade coming soon. So try to wait for that one. So anyway, you can see it's like 634. I'm just watching this, and I like how we got this bounce off the low side so perfectly. So that kind of tells me that this trend is valid, and there's multiple touches off the high side. So I already know off the high side it's pretty valid. Okay, so right here is where I went ahead and took my first trade. I'll start by saying it's a little aggressive. It's kind of moving sideways, but at this point, I'm pretty convinced that we're in a bear trend. So I'm not too concerned going short below this green bar. It's a second entry short. Um, and then off the highs, it's actually a failed second entry off these highs. If you look at this high, it's higher than that swing. So it went higher. It fails once. And then if it fails again, that's going to be our short. So I went ahead and took that short. Like I said, it's a little aggressive, kind of sideways, but I was okay with that for now. So entered there, sets up okay. There's my scalp, right? And I have a runner still, and on that runner, I had that runner down here at a trend channel touch, or one tick before this low. Um, and what happened is that when we pulled back here, like I said, I came into the mindset of, hey, let me just take a quick trade and be in and I'm out. I don't really want to take more trades. Like if I lose, I don't want to take 2 or 3 more trades, all that sort of stuff. So on this pullback, I feel the heat a little bit. I'm like, oh man, I might have to take an L. Let me see if the EMA and trend line hold, and it does. So we get this nice red bar. Under normal conditions, I shouldn't even be thinking about exiting, but today I'm just like, oh my God. So when this bar sets up, you got to imagine that when this bar sets up, at one point it looked actually pretty bullish, and to me, it's kind of like a congestion zone. Um, if these are the highs, and then you bring that down to the lows, you can see it's like kind of a congestion zone. So I was expecting prices to bounce a couple times and then go lower. So I just exited, right there. But when we talk about the technical strategy, there were no exit signals, right? I'm looking for a reversal pattern, I'm looking for a swing higher, and there's been none, or a measured move target, and there's been none. And so on this bar, when it starts to head lower, it was just one of those like See how we're one tick from the low? I would have almost been out there. Um, don't quite get out, but that's fine. Like even on this pullback, right? There's no exit signals, no swing higher, no reversal patterns. And what it actually does is it kind of gives you this two-legged move back to this EMA and then shoots back off. So, if I would have really just stuck to the rules with that management of the runner, I would have had a really nice swing trade there. But I was just really I was impatient. That's what it boils down to. I didn't come into the day ready to trade, and I made money, but I could have made a lot more um, by just following the rules. I didn't. I really one of those these. This was one of those trades where I literally did not have to do anything. I self-sabotaged. If I would have just entered and left it alone, everything would have played out. I would have got my exit down here, and I would have been good to go. So it was just a real good example to me of how your psychology can really affect your trade management. And when you start tweaking with your trade management, of course, I could have taken a loss if it bounced, but I have probability in my favor, and more times than not, you know, especially after this bar ticks this bar, my stop would have already moved to break even +1. So then I'm not even taking a loss. Maybe I don't get as much profit as I would have if I would have just scalped out of both contracts, but I wouldn't take a loss. And so that's just a little bit of the greed, a little bit of fear of loss, a little bit of impatience that all kind of led to me exiting that trade early. I thought that was a good example. A lot of price action today. I haven't even really looked through the price action, so I'm just going to try my best to follow the strategy and just call the setups. I don't really know which ones work today, so we're just going to try to see. So what we have here, this is a nice channel, right? So this is the first breakout side. What I'm going to do is give it a micro trend, and we're not looking to go long until a reversal pattern, but at least I want to see if this trend plays out, a breakout side, move to a new high, then we get a reversal type thing. So here's the breakout side, and that thing doesn't even bother checking up. So that's telling me right there that the bear trend is strong. But here's the issue now, is that after this breakout and a move to a new low, it's a little risky going short still. So I need to find a way to get a new trend channel going, because using this channel is now a little bit too risky. We've had the break, move to a new low. If anything, what I'm going to expect, two things I'm going to be looking for. Best case scenario, we make a measured leg down. So that gives us a target way, way, way down there somewhere. And then the next best case scenario, not necessarily next best case scenario, but just another scenario, is going to be that this is maybe leg 1 of the retest, and then here's going to be leg 2 of the retest. So that gives me two targets, one about down here and the other one just way down there. We'll worry about that if we get there. So that's where my targets are, and then I want to find a way to kind of chart this move as it starts to move lower. There's your lower high, but it's way too close to the lows. Can't buy that, or sorry, can't sell that. Here's your failed second entry. Once again, this one is at the lows, so you can't sell that. And look, it doesn't go far; it would have stopped you out. So here's a first entry to the low. This looks really nice. Everything's really bearish, but it's just not really a setup. So I have to skip that. Doesn't break below, so you would have been fine. This bar looks great, but it's too big, and the entry would have been back in here. I like to note that there's a hidden second entry here, because you see the first leg pullback, second leg. So there's like a two-legged pullback to the EMA, then it reverses. It kind of does a fake, a false breakout and reverses. That's a good sign. I just wish this bar would have closed closer to these lows on that candle. So this is one you probably have to watch go without you. It's going to be a little aggressive entering here on the lows. Or, if you want, you can do a limit order. You could put that limit order back in here, one tick above it, in front of it, if you want. Doesn't Probably doesn't get you even one tick. That might not have got you in. But if you would have done 2 ticks, you would have got in. So it's up to you. So you see, as we move lower, we're getting close to this leg. So that's important that we made kind of 2 legs down. In fact, I'd almost say that this leg is actually leg 1. Then we get that 2-legged pullback, and that's leg 2 right there. That's more so how I think I'd see it. So we still have a little bit more to go. Once again, though, I am in this weird area where I'm not sure how to chart this move right now. So I'm just waiting to see for like second entry shorts. I'm waiting to see maybe one more turn down off this EMA, something that gives me signs that, okay, we're not about to reverse anytime soon. And then when we turn down there, it's kind of like, okay, we're definitely moving lower. I'll start off by going off the lows, just off those lows there, and seeing how that fits up here. That fits. I don't. We're gonna have to see. Let me make these a little bit softer so we can see better. Just knock that down to 50. And then I'm gonna knock this one down. I'm gonna knock this one down to 50 too. So now we can kind of focus more on the on our new trend. That was such a nice trend, but the pattern played out pretty quickly in the morning. So, we're gonna have to find a new channel if we want to keep taking proper shorts. So this is gonna be our new channel for now. You can see how we kind of had a overshoot on this low side. So it's not by much. It's not by much. Let's see if we bring this down. Does it fit off this low? Not that well. I still prefer using this. So let's just run with that overshoot. Really what we're looking for is that if it does overshoot, it's either really strong, it's a really strong bear trend, or if we don't get any resistance when we get up to this line, then we know that we might be going higher. But if we get the resistance and a setup, I still will take that setup. But this overshoot is telling me that if we do get back up here and there's no setup and it starts going higher, it might not keep going lower. Okay, so a couple things to note here is that off this high, this one up here, that's our first entry. It fails. Here's our second entry. If it breaks below, it's a failure. Once again, though, it's really bearish, so I can understand why maybe you're going to jump the gun here, but we're too close to this channel line. There's enough room to the lows, but we're not really off the EMA. Let me see, maybe it's off the midline. Yeah, so it's off the midline, but still yet, I'm not going to go short there. I'm going to wait. Let's see if we get back to the EMA or this other side. So I'm just going to wait on that one. And you can see it it doesn't go far. You would have got stopped out. So the right decision was waiting. Now here's an interesting one. I think I do remember this trade, but here's a second entry short. We're back to this concept of how are we going to judge this breakout over here? Because if this is the breakout, we really want to see it come to this other side of the channel. But what I'll say is that there is a setup here. It's a 2-legged pullback to the EMA. It's a pretty good bear bar. It's not too big, so the risk is pretty low. I would understand why you take this trade. In most situations, I don't really see a problem even taking that trade. But today, it doesn't work. So I mean, ideally, it's not really a big loss at all. So, it is what it is. I'm really trying to look for why you would have skipped this trade. Only thing I can think of is that sometimes Mac will talk about how if we come off this low side, we need to touch the high side, not just the EMA. But in this context, I think this would have been enough. I think it's just a trade that doesn't work, to be honest. Not much more you can say. And then right there, you see that that's a reversal pattern. We got a reversal pattern right there. That's kind of like a stack up. So I'll just go off here. Now, this reversal pattern, I will be looking to trade to the long side, but carefully because there's already a really strong downtrend. I need to see prices close above the EMA and a good setup above the EMA before I really take a long seriously. So starting to close above, and now we're kind of back below, and then we immediately went back below. So let's see if we get a retest on that high and a failure, and we'll try to go short. There's kind of a retest on the high, but if it breaks below here, that's not a good enough signal bar to go short, so I still have to wait. And it broke below. So unfortunately, that's not a good enough signal bar for me to take the short. We get a pullback, and then here's a like a failed second entry short. Once again, we're back in the gray area because if this is a breakout side, we got the retest to move to a new low. It's not super convincing, and then the next thing is that, off these highs, it could be a little bit flatter. So I like how it's underneath the EMA. It's technically a setup. Really what we're here to do is just see the setups and take the trades. We'll worry about all the rest later. So that's a trade that I probably would take given the, even though given the context, I probably still take that. Doesn't really go far. Let me see if you get enough for a scalp. 1750. Yeah, you get the scalp, no problem. And it doesn't go much further than that. You're already getting an exit signal. Here's a swing high right there. And so you probably could have been out, probably break even. There's no reason no reason for your stop to still be up here. If anything, your stop's going to be 2 ticks above this red bar or possibly break even. So probably don't take any loss, but you don't get much of a big win on that one. And then we look at this bar, see, like, here's another like reversal pattern again. So it gets a little sketchy through here. I would just have that there, and let's see if we get more setups like right here. Only problem with this is that the failed second entry was really right there, right? Because off this low, went higher, fails once, fails twice, then you would have bought. So that's not a trade. In fact, that's just going sideways, how this bar is inside of that bar, it's inside of that bar. So I wouldn't buy it there. And that's also a nice setup, but it's still just like a first entry to the high. Those aren't, maybe like a B minus setup, C setups, but definitely not like an A setup. So I'm not concerned with them. And that one goes. So, maybe it is justified to consider those trades as aggressive. I just, I don't think like the only one, I don't think I would take this one, but this one maybe because it's like a breakout pullback. It's pretty aggressive. Like I said, it's like a C plus, B minus sort of setup. So it's like, I probably would have just skipped it, but it's there. So we have this channel. Once again, we have an overshoot. So we need to pay attention what it does when it comes back to this side. It got some sideways action. And then you get super strong. This is what we're talking about. When you get this overshoot, when it gets back to this channel line and it doesn't catch any support and just shoots right through it like that, that's to be expected. just so you don't get fooled trying to buy it or something, which there was no signal to buy, but you know, that thing just, I mean, it's like someone just hit the button. So just gonna make it a little tighter. Really what we want to see now is we want to see it pull back to this EMA and set up more shorts lower. If this thing pulls back. So you get that two-legged pull back to the EMA. Here's a first entry to the low. It's a higher low as well. It's going to be aggressive going short there. It's like another trade that I think I have to skip. You know, it's like it looks really great, two-legged pullback, but it's too aggressive. You know, it's too aggressive. And then here it's way too close to the low. So once again, I don't wanna sell at the lows. So it's like a lot of movement, but a lot of these trades just don't trigger correctly for my system at least. Um, and there are aggressive entries. I'm not saying that you couldn't have sold this. I'm just saying that's not an A plus setup. I really want to just mark the A plus setups. Because all you need is one or two a day. You know, it's like let's not look at the overall market and say, oh my God, I need to be trading this. You know, this is the same as any other day. You need one setup, and I got that up here. You know, so it's like all this is just extra opportunities, sure, but you know, I'm not trying to over trade this just because it's volatile today. Um, okay, but we're back at that gray zone again, right? Because we had that second channel we made. There was a break outside and a move to a new low, possibly two legs down. So we're going to look for that second leg, see if it ends up down here. Um, but we need to be careful about where we go short. Preferably, you want to see like a solid second entry short. Um, that's not at the lows. So we're waiting on it. Once again, we're not going short at the lows. Doesn't go far. Here's your first entry, and that thing just keeps going. So there's nothing to trade there. At a certain point, you will have to be, if you haven't taken a trade, you know, you will have to be aggressive about a pullback to that EMA. Um, I'll try to see where that's best. Here's the lower high, but we're pretty close to those lows. It's moving sideways, this bar inside of that bar, inside of that bar. So not where we're going to enter. And then here you get the, here's the lower high that triggers, but that's not a great signal bar. So hopefully we'll get one more pullback in a reversal, and we want to go short there. Here's that pullback. Um, that's not a good setup. It's right into the EMA. That signal bar is bullish. It's actually closing above the EMA. Not a great setup, so we're not going to take that trade. And it goes. So here's one of those things where it's like this is like a C setup where it's like technically there's a second entry short, but it's like a couple like the setup isn't clean, and you know, it's just not a good setup. So if you're being aggressive, you might have taken that. Once again, unfortunately, I would have skipped it. That shoots off right to our measured move. So now we have to be careful. We have to really pay attention to where this market is going. Make sure we don't get trapped. Um, here's the lower high. It doesn't go far. It fails. Oh, I missed this trade. Being a little stingy, being too fast. So here's probably the first trade you'd really consider. Here's the lower high. It fails. But off this bar, you can't see it because it's closed right on that EMA. But right there, that's a second entry short. First entry, second entry short. Two-legged pull back to the EMA. At this point, there is a lot of bearish momentum. I mean, this is probably the first downtrend I've seen in a couple weeks. So this might be somewhere where you're aggressive. I think it's a little aggressive because of the fact that on both trend channels, there's a breakout move to a new low, measured move on both channels. So the only thing we're looking at now is, you know, these shorter term breakout trends. Or like, you know, what could be happening is that this is a spiking channel. So we had a spike down, and then you can see how there's kind of like two peaks right there. So possibly we're working with something like this. What I'll do is I'll change the color. Make it a little bigger. So possibly we're working with something like that. But you can see off the lows, it doesn't even fit that great. So it's not a great channel, but this is a little better channel. I like this channel more than the one I drew off the highs. Which if you use that, see once again, that's why it's such an aggressive trade. Even if you use this channel, which is a lot better, you have a break, move to a new low. So this ends up being aggressive, but it's there only because there's so much bearish momentum today that, at a certain point, you got to try to get with the trend. This is probably like an A- setup, but at a certain point, you got to get with the program. So that's probably where you'd go for it. And you can see like it pulls back pretty quick, so you don't even get much off that, kind of going higher here. In fact, here's the reversal pattern of this low. Failed once, fails twice. So kind of getting a reversal pattern. And right there, it's just way too sideways. You get a reversal off this high, first entry, second entry. So when prices break below this bar, you could go short, but that's too sideways for me. I probably wouldn't trade that. Maybe we'll get a breakout pullback or something. And that thing keeps going. Man, that's really a bummer. A lot of these setups, there's not much I can actually do with them today. So you got a double top here. Double top there. So those become one high. So that's the lower high right at the lows. Can't do that. And then here's right there. Here's the failed second entry. To be honest, this channel ain't working. It ain't really helping us anymore. So if that channel isn't helping, I'm ready to take it off the chart. Or I need to edit it and maybe see if maybe this is a better channel. And I like how, at least on this channel, the new one, there's 3 touches on the high side, so that's good. And that might give us some room on the low side. So it's not really confirmed off the lows, but that would be our target on the lows. So that makes me feel a little better. This trade is still aggressive, but I'd take that trade just because it's a failed reversal pattern. There's a lot of bullish momentum. I'm cool with that. Maybe I'm sizing down a little bit because it's aggressive, but I think that's, first trade I see that you can actually take. So step 1. You get a little bit out of that. And honestly, you don't have an exit signal yet, so you're probably still in if you're holding the runner. You can see how we're just on this super steep downtrend. Let me put a midline on the chart. So midline, I mean, yeah, you go all the way to that other side. That's a nice trade. You don't know it's going to do that though, but you didn't get an exit signal. See, no swing higher, no reversal patterns. Only thing now is that channel side touch. You probably are going to exit when it touches the channel. I feel like this looks like the middle of the pattern at this point. So if you really want to find like an extension sort of thing, I used the wrong tool. 1 second. If you want to find some sort of extension, probably That's leg one. Then you get a two-legged pullback, and there's like two. So even there, that kind of gets you right up there anyway. So probably looking to exit somewhere around there. Let's see when we get that reversal pattern though. Here's a higher low or a double bottom at the channel. That's a good bullish sign. I'm not trying to buy that by any means, but that's a good bullish sign. If you're an aggressive bull, you're probably going to buy that pretty far from that EMA. In fact, if I was still in this trade, I'm for sure getting ready to get out. The reversal pattern probably won't be far behind. Yeah, and then here you go. If it breaks above right there, that's your reversal pattern. You end up exiting right at that measured target. It's funny how the market geometry works like that. And that kind of helps with the psychology, is that oftentimes, if you read the market right, it's going to give you what it's going to give you no matter how you exit. If you exit correctly, you rarely can beat the market. All you can do is just take what it gives you. And I mean, like this trade, you had no idea it's going to do all this. So oftentimes the market is generous, but trying to get more out of the market than it's willing to give is going to set you up mentally for the wrong type of trading. So yeah, there's your reversal pattern. You would have exited there. I mean, seriously, at this point, sorry. I like to call the trades before I see that they work. But if I wasn't in this trade, it's going to be kind of aggressive. But I mean, you can buy that. It's a reversal pattern at the channel line. We're really far from the EMA. We're expecting this to come to the EMA and probably the other side at the very least. I could see that being a good trade. Bear signal. It's funny because this is a double bottom, so it becomes one low. That's a second entry. I don't trust it. I mean, the one up here failed, but we're not really looking to that. But I do think a lot of the same things apply. We really want to see it come over here. We just had a reversal pattern. What I want to see here is maybe we'll get a lower high. I'll feel more comfortable, but I don't want to sell that. It doesn't go far. Where did I stopped out? There you go. You're back over here at this trend channel. Now what we need to do, because we're closing above this EMA, is I don't even know how to chart this. Probably there, just because it's the most obvious. I'm not saying it's the best, I just think it's the most obvious. So probably we have a channel working higher, something like that. I like how it bounced off this high side, so that's good. And it doesn't really check back, so I'm probably forgetting about that. Above the EMA, now we're below. Moved past the previous swing. So got a little short-term micro. And then that thing went right back above. But we haven't broken a swing, so let's just wait to see what happens. And then here we break the swing. So really, I just take that off. I would just take that off and still play this channel. Say that this is a breakout, test to a new high. Just wait to see what happens. Definitely you're getting the trend up there. So I'm not going to give this a trend because this is just part of this leg. So we just got to see how this leg plays out. Kind of getting that, kind of like a reversal. But we'll see how that plays out. It's pretty early in the morning. So yeah, and none of these are breaking above or below. So there's really no trades even up through here. There's nothing that I would take. I need to see it pull back. Maybe we'll go long. If it pulls back and continues shorter, we'll start looking for shorts. And so here you get that like lower high. You might take that short, but it's probably like a B minus. And then here you get this sort of like second entry long to the highs. Pretty strong signal bar. I don't like it because we already have the breakout move to a new high, but this is a strong setup. This is definitely an A setup, and we are above the CMA. it's a strong setup. I think you can definitely buy there. Um, whether it works or not, it's just a good setup, good context. It all makes sense. You get a little bit. You don't get much. Let me see. Yeah, you don't really get much. Good enough for the scalp. Yeah, you get enough for the scalp. So not much out of that. In fact, it seems like it's going to make another move higher. I wouldn't re-enter though. It's mainly sideways. So what I'll do here, kind of looks like it's just going sideways right now. I'll just probably get a range on there, something like that. So now that we're breaking out, let's see if we get a breakout pullback. We're going to give this a micro trend. That's that breakout pullback, the range fade. Let's see if we turn back lower. See right there when we turn back lower. And like here's a perfect example of what I mean by a breakout pullback. I don't know if I consider this a breakout pullback. It's like it did break out, it did pull back, and now it's heading back lower. But it's like this ain't a really strong close. Let's see if we get another close. Okay, that's a little better. I don't love it, but these are just lines. No one is forcing you to take these trades. So at least this starts to get our mindset in the right direction. And if we see the right setup, we'll take the setup. But I'm still uneasy about this. I'm not convinced this is a breakout pullback yet. Okay, now that looks like a breakout pullback. That's a lot better. So what we want to see here, we got this double bottom. No, it actually ticked one tick lower. So what we want to see, maybe we'll get one more move higher than a new low. We'll go short off this high. First entry fails, moves higher. When that fails, that's a second entry failure. So like right here, if it breaks below, that's a failure. But we're going really sideways. All these are dojis. If this breaks below, I'm going to have to skip it. It doesn't. And then it does there. Man, that is so tempting. That's so tempting. Going short right there. But really, that's how you should be seeing that. So you're selling that breakout low. And there's a lot of reasons for this to run to the lows. So, I'm not saying this trade isn't going to work. I'm just saying that it does break my rules taking this trade. Fuck, so I got to skip it. But this is, that looks good. Wow, that's interesting. Let's see if you get enough for the scalp. 75. Just enough for a scalp if you enter on a limit order. If you entered on a stop, you don't get enough. So, wow, that's a really good example of what I mean is that, this trade is not, it looks so good, but it's not a good setup. And just focus on the ones with good setups. So right here, it's kind of like a re-entry. Like, so when this fails and pulls back to that EMA, it's like a re-entry sort of trade. I feel like this is aggressive. I don't know how this does. That's going to be aggressive because it's not really, re-entry patterns aren't really in the system, but I've noticed that they do tend to work if you get a nice signal bar. I like how we're kind of at the highs of the range, so if we do move to at least there, we should be able to get out. Yeah, 25 to, yeah, so if we move to that low, you can get out. It's going to be a little aggressive though. Yep, and you get out. So I like that trade just because it's like when this trade failed, a lot of people were looking at this wanting to go short. When that fails and it gives us another setup with a better entry price, I think a lot of people are going to go short there. It's just like a re-entry pattern. I really like the re-entries. Usually they're pretty obvious. And then, you still don't have an exit signal. You haven't even had a break higher. So truthfully, I probably have my take profit one tick before this low. But if it's moving like this, I'm going to take the take profit off. I'm going to use my stop and just follow it with a stop. Let it go as far as it wants to go. Another target is probably going to be probably leg one. Probably already made that. If that's leg one, we probably already. I'm purposely, you know, it's probably more up here. And if it is up here, you see that gets you pretty much to the lows. So that's a pretty safe target. But if it's moving this strong, I'm gonna, like I said, take that off and just let my stop me out. So really, I'm just looking for the next place I can cover the profits. So like right there, that swing, I'd probably, although in this situation I need two exit signals, but I have my stop. My stop is going to be break even plus one, but mentally I have the stop right here just in case. I'm going to be looking at this area if it comes back to it. And then we have another swing right there. So I'll probably now move my stop here because it'd have to break that swing and then break that swing. That's a good sign that it might start heading higher. So I'll probably move my stop to right there at this point. And then you see you got this big green reversal bar. I mean, the temptation is to just exit right there because it looks like a reversal bar. But I would just try to follow the system. You know, at this point, you still have a pretty good win. I would just let it sit there, see if it comes and gets it. And it does. But, you know, exiting here is just, it's not a consistent exit strategy. Although it looks, I mean, I could probably make a case why it's like a congestion zone and I don't know, probably something. But just, you know, follow the rules, take what it gives. At this point in the day, it's giving you a lot, so you shouldn't really be pressed about a couple ticks here and there, especially ticks in profit. So here is my issue though with my exit strategy is that I like to wait for two exit signals. The way this set up, I guess two swings higher, like a swing higher here is one signal and a swing higher there is another signal. But I think the way this set up, see how when that swung higher, it didn't close higher? Those are subtle signs. Those are real subtle signs. Um, Another part of me is thinking that if I do wait for two signals, I should maybe wait to make sure they're like different signals. So maybe I shouldn't be using like two swing highs. I should use, okay, one signal is a swing high, another signal is a close above or a move past the EMA, and another signal is a reversal pattern. But I maybe shouldn't be using the same signal because I mean it's like it's no biggie, but this happens a lot where just enough to get you out on the swings and then it reverses. And I see this happen a lot. See how it never closes above that EMA? That would have been the next signal I'm waiting for. You see how there's no reversal pattern? So you could still be in this if you're playing that a little different. Things keep going. Once again, we're back in that danger zone going short. We have a breakout, two legs to a new low. Back in that danger zone, so we need to be careful about going short. That's the swing high. So that's just the lower high. It's a good setup. It's probably aggressive. Like this is aggressive. It's a good setup though. You know, if you're being aggressive, I can see why you take that. I'll probably skip it. That's our failed second entry. Too close to the lows. Not going to take it. In fact, the way this closes, that bar, inside of that bar, inside of that bar, not taking that. It gets enough for the scout, but it doesn't go far. And then it kind of gets like this double top. This can be our new highs, but this is our signal bar. It's not that great. Now we're getting that close above the EMA. We have a swing past previous swings. And then on this bar, look, the goal here is to see the strategy. So as much as I don't trust this trade, there's a trade here. I don't trust it because there's a channel, break outside, two legs to a new low. That's the main thing. But it works, see? Trust Trade what you see, not what you think, because that works. Cool. It pulls back relatively quick. In fact, this is a trade where I probably would have got stopped out at break even +1. Maybe because of the congestion, I would have exited in the congestion. But yeah, that's another exit signal for sure. An exit signal is congestion. Once you see bars stacking up, I just try to get like a limit on the lowest close or the lowest open. You would have got it there. But once you see them stacking up, that's a reason to exit for sure. I'll add that to my playbook. Okay. And you can see actually another crucial thing for the exit is that, see how we have that double bottom right there? That's a big sign we might reverse that double bottom. So we're waiting. In fact, there's a second entry short right there off this bar. It's getting a little sideways, getting a little aggressive. It's an aggressive short. Probably go short right there. So a little aggressive, a little side, and it's not anything too technical, so I'm not stressing it. But in fact, actually, right there, it is congestion on this bar. This one closes inside of this one, which closes inside of that one. So on that bar, it's congestion. But when you really look at it, you're in the middle, which is makes it aggressive. But the context is still right, because if you're in the middle of the congestion, you're expecting prices to come down to this side, and if your entry is 89.50, you're gonna need a couple ticks past it to exit, but you might risk that. Oh man, how much more do we have left? 45 minutes. Um, that's a new swing high. That's a double top. So that's the lower high. It's kind of like a breakout pullback, but we're not really interested in that. Um, the failed second entry short, a little close to the lows. If you look at it, that's a little too close to the lows. We're not that close to the EMA. It's actually a congestion pattern. Look, we're inside of that bar, and you're at the lows. Really, what we're going to expect is it to hit this and then kind of go back up. So we're not going to take that one. Looks like it's going to work though. That sets up nice, but oh well. In fact, back to the idea, like if you're in here, there hasn't been an exit signal. There's no reason to exit yet. None. Yeah, okay. I lied. There's congestion right there. So maybe you would have exited right there on these lows. Keep moving lower. None of these we can really take though. In fact, what I need to do, I should have been way more proactive. There's definitely, you can see how every time we hit the EMA, we turn down. I don't see a trend that's going to hold all that price action super well. Here, maybe. But you can see like none of these really get a touch. So it doesn't really help you with those trades. But there's definitely a trend. I just don't see the channel that really helps you that much. Like that's probably the channel. But it only helps you for this trade and these trades. It doesn't really help you much over here. This thing just keeps going lower. Jeez. All right, guys, just sell it. In fact, that's what's funny, man. As a noob, that's what you'll do. You'll sell it. You'll just be like, man, this thing you'll miss this trade. You'll miss this trade. And you'll be like, man, this thing keeps going lower. I'm just gonna sell. I'm just gonna sell. At least I'm gonna get a scalp. And you sell it right here, and it works. Bah, fucking bah. It doesn't even work. You would have sold that. You barely got out. And if you use a stop, you did not get out. So a couple things go into that. I don't want to explain right now, but if you were to like just be a noob and sell here, really your stop is up here because that's the swing. So you have a crazy stop. That's a huge stop for what it's worth. So you're technically you're not out of this trade yet, but I mean, that's a huge stop. I cannot emphasize how crazy it is to put your stop up there. But if that's how you traded that, that's where the stop needs to go. So you need to size down enough where your money management is the same. So you probably like have to go to like a micro ES chart or something. But that's the only way this trade is like technically an okay professional trade. But just really dumb selling it down in here. So let's not spend too much time on that. Okay, so we are below. We were below. Now we're above. We're almost breaking new swings. Not quite, and we don't. So let's just wait off on that. Here's the high or low. It's a little tough to definitively say what the market is doing. We're not sure if this is a breakout. It's not a convincing break, but this is. So maybe we're going to get one more push lower. Let's see. Nah, we don't get that push. See how we kind of, there's a leg up, a breakout, move to a new high. If we break above this swing, like there, I'm going to look at this and say, first of all, I think this is a little too flat, but I'll consider this channel and just be mindful of, I want to see if we get a reversal pattern. And if we get that reversal pattern, I'll consider maybe some longs. So like right there, that's kind of be a reversal pattern. It's bouncing off this channel. What time is it? 11:36. Yeah, it's going to be aggressive. It's going to be aggressive, but I think you can buy that. Confirms the trend line. It's a reversal pattern. It's only a first entry to this high though, but all other things, it looks okay. Ah, man, that gets you. It's a just one tick and reverses on you, so that one doesn't work. Little aggressive. So we'll take that off. That one didn't work. So let's see where we're going, and then boom. So here's where, you got to be really careful. We're late in the day. If you lost this trade, that's that reversal pattern and it failed, but then you get that re-entry, that reset. Oh man, this is so, I think it's aggressive in terms of your process because you're getting close to the end of the day. If you take 2 losses back to back, that can really mess with your psychology, and it's a Friday. But we are expecting prices to, at least this trend line is being respected. So this is that re-entry pattern. I feel really weird entering here, but these typically will give you a scalp. So let's see. Yeah, you get the scalp. So it's aggressive to buy. You would have bought this and lost and had to re-enter, but it's almost a second entry long. If this was just one tick back, that's a second entry long. I would have felt better. Yeah, probably too aggressive. Probably too aggressive. Let me get this off the chart. I didn't know I still had lines from earlier. But we're close to the end of the day. 15 minutes left on the day. And you can see it doesn't go far. See how that doesn't go very far? So what we're looking for here, it's definitely a breakout side. So let's see if we get a retest on the high. Really, that's a reversal pattern off this high, kind of double top. It's kind of a reversal pattern. Really, I mean, and so here's really what I should be looking for is that look at that EMA. That is flat. We're on both sides of it. So really, what this is, it's not really a bull broad channel. It's a trading range. So after seeing this movement, I'm probably just gonna, you don't have to necessarily take this off because I think this was valid at the time. I think this leg is what really reinforced it. But once it made this double top, That's when you started to think like, maybe something's going on. But I think once it closed below that EMA, that really reinforced it. So I'm probably looking at something like this. I'm probably looking at this. Probably that. Probably that. And then so yeah, you see you get that bounce, a second entry long right there. Um, let's just see where my midline is, because that's gonna help me know if I should take that long or not. Midline's probably there. If you're being aggressive, you'll probably buy that. It's getting late in the day, so you gotta be careful. I always get nervous late at the day on Fridays, but that's a setup. You get a pretty good trade off that. I like how it kind of made that double top. A couple more minutes in the day. Here's a first entry to the lows. You're not looking to sell that. If it breaks below here, you might sell that. But here's why I'm not going to right now. On a small scale, this bar inside of that bar, which closes and opens inside of this bar. So there's like, although there's a range, so whenever I do the little small mini congestion zones, because it can get confusing quick. Like, okay, well, I should be selling up here, but if this is a range, do I sell the breakout? What I would do is say, you got to respect every line that you see. So what you want to see is that it breaks out, pulls back, and then sets back up short. I'd take that short, but I'm not going to sell this breakout. See, you sell that breakout and you get stopped out. Here's a reversal pattern off this low. The first entry fails, second entry. I don't want to buy this for the same reason. I'm selling the breakout of the bigger range. And it's almost a breakout pullback. We closed above, closed back inside. Now we're closing back above. So it's pretty much a breakout pullback. It's gonna be a little aggressive though. I'll just wait. And it's like I'd probably be done. I'm not trying to force it. But I want to go till 12. I want to look at every setup that shows up today. But if I was really trading, I mean, I would have been done way back over here. I'm not still looking for trades. That does pretty good. Um, that's technically a breakout pullback though. So I want to give it a line. And the breakout pullback happens on that bar. So got a micro trend. Just look to buy off our trend channel, trend line. It's almost done for the day. And it never pulls back. Oh, all this happens in like a minute. Yeah, all this is like a minute. So that's 12 right there. I'd be done. No reason to keep forcing it. No reason. And like buying here, you're a little too far from the EMA, even though it's off the trend line. It's just the first entry to the high. It's not really an entry off the lows. It's not a good place to go long. And it works, sure, but it's not that great. So yeah, that's all I saw today. I think I'm done. Yeah, so today was there's a lot going on today, and it's like, and so I mean, look at that. Imagine, imagine this short I had up here. Like I'm like that's my goal. One time in life is just to like have a short up here and just hold it all day, all day. That'd have been an amazing trade. But you can make plenty of money along the way. Got a little confusing getting my lines up, so I want to work on making sure when we get these big down moves or big up moves, how do I keep readjusting my channel so I can make sure I'm on the right side of the market. But that's what I saw today. Pretty good day, pretty good trading day. I could have made so much more, but I didn't come with the right psychology today, and it cost me a little bit. But now we know. Um, but yeah, that's it. It's been a great week. Good bounce back week. I followed all of my rules. I think I executed, except for this trade, I executed almost flawlessly this week. So I'm pretty happy about that. Got some studying to do this weekend, And I'm going to be back Monday, like always. Cool. It's your boy, Kamal Hart, and I'm out. Peace.